Welcome back, friends. Well, you might have heard that a major star in comedy is taking on Rupp Arena this Sunday at 7.
Yes, indeed. Jim Gaffigan bringing his Everything is Wonderful tour to Rupp. Lisa and I caught up with Jim via Zoom to find out what folks are in store for, and we also found out he enjoys our good Kentucky bourbon.
Well, who doesn't?
Keeps it on top of his mind. Take a look. Hey friends, welcome back in. We are so excited to be talking to a national comedy headliner, the one and only Jim Gaffigan, and he's bringing his Everything is Wonderful tour right here to Lexington, the Rupp Arena this Sunday. Jim, thanks so much for spending a few minutes with us here. And the question is everything really wonderful, Jim?
Everything is wonderful. Obviously, that tour name is done with a certain amount of sarcasm, but this is a special leg of the Everything is Wonderful tour. This is called the Bourbon and Whiskey Run.
Yes,
nice.
Yes.
I've gotten so into bourbon that I added specific shows so that I could be in bourbon country.
Yes.
Spend more time.
Come to the right place, Jim.
So, Jim, what can Lexington expect this weekend at the show?
Well, since the pandemic, I've had this growing love for bourbon, and so there's going to be probably a lot of bourbon material. And when I'm not performing, I'm going to just be acquiring bourbon because I've become one of those bourbon collectors. And, I don't drink bourbon every day. That would be ridiculous. It's just at night. And
just at night. Well, you've got 5 kids, Jim. So yeah. we absolutely can relate. Jim, we enjoyed you so much in the film Unfrosted with your pal Jerry Seinfeld. What was that like? There was just a star-studded cast in that film.
Oh, I mean, it was really amazing because the people that showed up to set every day, it was really just because everyone wanted to work with Jerry and he called in a lot of favors. So I would look at the call sheet every morning and be kind of like, I can't believe this person's showing up. So, I love acting, but it was just working with all these comedy kind of all-stars that was really special. But I don't know, it's been a nice little run. I appreciate every opportunity that I've been given along my career. And, this tour, heading into Lexington, I'm going to be with my brothers, my 3 brothers, we're from Indiana. They're coming down. And also my college-age son, who I've done some shows with. So he's going to be probably complaining about me. And then I'll go on stage and complain about, my children. And, you guys are parents. You know that it is a thankless task. I don't know. How old are your kids?
Well, Jim, we have 2 boys. 15 and 20, so we relate a lot to your material on teenagers.
We sure do.
That's, it's smart that you're raising those kids in Kentucky because you have access to some of the best bourbon, right? Which is, a lot of people don't know that, the reason God invented bourbon was after he saw what humans had to deal with when they had teenagers. That's what happened. And God was like, all right, bourbon and maybe rye too. We're not
I'm
really
glad
sure.
you said it. Now, Jim, this is actually a family affair for you because you also work with your wife, just like I'm working with Doug too.
So Lisa and I are the only husband and wife anchor team on the desk together in Kentucky. So we wanted to ask you, Jim, since you co-produce programs with your wife's an established actress, there's a lot of collaboration. What's the secret sauce? How do you guys make it work, working with your spouse every day?
Well, as you guys know, it is a nimble thing, but it is also, it's also a blessing, right? Because there is a shorthand and you're kind of aware of what what your partner's dealing with. And there's a shared kind of experience. That's a shorthand, but like, I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of times I think working with your spouse is a lot easier than going on a family trip. Like going on a family trip is probably more stressful on a relationship
Daunting.
than, if you were, if you two were running the state of Kentucky, that would be a challenge. But, if you went on vacation with your kids trying to navigate, because I do these family trips and I don't know what the thinking is. I always, it's like, why don't we, we bicker and argue. Why don't we take this on the road? Maybe we should see what it's like when our kids don't listen to us in a hotel room.
Well, Jim, we are so excited to host you here in Kentucky, Rupp Arena this Sunday for the Jim Gaffigan Everything is Wonderful tour. And Jim, for folks that want to follow your career, want to follow your stand-up in the next big project, where can they find you?
Gosh, I'm always touring with new material, and so you can go to my website, jimgaffigan.com, but, social media, we live in this day and age where you can just kind of Google someone and find out where they are. And so, but I appreciate that. And it's, my shows are family friendly. I do complain about teenagers, but you shouldn't be worried about being embarrassed of being with your teenager. You should be embarrassed of your teenager. That's it.
Well, they really do give you a lot of really good material, don't they?
Gotta love the teenagers. Jim Gaffigan, thank you so much for spending some time with us. It's going to be a great show this Sunday at Rupp Arena, and we look forward to it, sir.
Have a great show, and thanks for being with us.
Oh, great conversation with
was,
Jim.
yes.
He's a wonderful guy.
Yeah, he
Down-to-earth
is.
guy, Midwestern guy, born in Illinois. So he's going to put on a great show for us, and there's still tickets available. Rupp Arena, Sunday, 7 p.m. for Jim Gaffigan. A great opportunity to catch a nationwide headliner.
It's going to be hilarious.
Big name in comedy. Stay with us. Headlines coming up after the break.